welcome to Tom Segal's Weekend Analysis. He's joining me on the phone now to take a look back at a fabulous week of racing in both Britain and Ireland. Tom, let's start with Q Card, winner of the Betfair Chase. Is he a worthy favourite for the King George in your eyes? And is he now a Gold Cup contender?
He's definitely both, I would think. I mean, I don't necessarily fancy him for the King George. I'm not sure Kempton's his track. I think he might be better going left-handed. Therefore, I think Dynast and Alpharoff and Sir Deschamps, if they turn up at Kempton, all have chances of beating him. I'm not sure, as I say, Kempton his suit is ideal for him. He ran badly there last year. I know there were excuses, but it might be worth taking on in the King George. But as for the Gold Cup, yeah, I've been banging on about him for the Gold Cup for I reckon about 2 years now. I've been on with you, telling about it before. I've always thought he's a stayer, an out-and-out stayer. You just can't win those races over 2 miles, 6 furlongs, keeping on strongly if you're not going to stay 3 miles. Imperial Commander did it. Lots of those Gold Cup horses have done it. I think he's a rock-solid chance in the Gold Cup. Yeah, I mean, provided the ground's not, bottomless or really quite testing. It was quite testing last year when Bobsworth won. I'm not sure that would suit him, ideally. But, yeah, I'd prefer him for the Gold Cup than the King George, put it like that.
What did you make of the performances of some of the others in the Betfair Chase, looking ahead to races like the King George?
Well, as I say, I think Dynast is sort of perfect for the King George. He's a bit like Grand Cru, actually. He sort of falls between two stools. I don't think he'll ever stay well enough to win a Gold Cup. He came there looking like he had a chance and sort of weakened after the last at Haydock on Saturday. I don't think the Gold Cup will be a race that he can win simply due to his lack of stamina. I think the King George is his race. Silviano Conte, I've never really been a fan of his. I think he'll just fall a little bit short of the best, so I wouldn't be too interested in him for either race. And to be perfectly honest, I think last year's Gold Cup form is looking shakier by the minute. I don't know whether it was a very hard race that they all had that day because it rained on the day and it looked like quite a brutal race, but none of them have come back and performed out of the race at all. Bobsworth was terrible, Cape Tribulation was terrible. I suppose Silvino Conte ran okay, but then he didn't have to run up the hill that last time, did he? He fell 3 out. So maybe he was kept out of the brutal bit of it, and it just isn't working out that well. So therefore, I'd be slightly concerned about those ones going back. The Bobsworths of this world going back to Cheltenham next year. Maybe that race just took too much out of them. I don't know. I could be barking up the wrong tree there. But I think the first and the second were the only ones you could really take out of that with any confidence, really.
And betting editor Paul Keeley said in today's paper that Alpharoff is overpriced for the King George following his victory at Ascot. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a good horse, isn't he? He beat Q Card, Sprinter Sacra, or did he beat Q Card? Definitely beat Sprinter Sacra and those boys over hurdles at Cheltenham. He's a very, very good horse. He jumps really well. I think 3 miles will suit him well. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one in there pitching with a shout. Paul would know as much as anyone about that sort of race. Yeah, I think he's probably barking up the right tree there. Can see him being overpriced, definitely.
After winning on Annie Power, Ruby Walsh said she could go for the Champion Hurdle. Is that the right race to target?
I think probably at this stage, yeah, because I don't think they'll want to run her against Q Vega in the Mares Hurdle. I think she's only a young horse. She's got plenty of time ahead of her. I not necessarily think she needs to step up to 3 miles just yet. That can come later in her career if necessary. I can't see why she can't have a crack at the Champion Hurdle. Absolutely not. She's unbeaten. Looks really good. I think she was a bit rusty on Saturday. Didn't jump as well as she could, but yeah, no problem. She's also shown now that she can travel over because she's previously never run outside Ireland. So the fact she came over to Ascot and performed well was good for her Cheltenham prospects. I can't see why she can't run in the Champion Hurdle. Whether she can win it's a different kettle of fish, but she's unbeaten and we don't know how good she is.
Tom, I know you're a big fan of your Irish racing. Did anything catch your eye at Navan yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, the Troy Town's the race that I really like. So I was interested in that. I don't think I'd have ever found the winner, Cootamundra, but I thought there's a few horses in there that ran interesting races. I thought Mad Brian, who was second, looks like the type who can, that was only his third run over fences, so he's the type of horse that could progress, maybe an Irish national horse one day. And Guniella, who stayed on into fifth. I thought he ran a pretty good Welsh national trial, actually. It was over 3 miles and the ground was quite sort of yielding. It wasn't very soft at Navan yesterday. I thought he stayed on well, kept on well, because he looked one of the first beaten, but he plugged on to finish fifth. I think he's the type of horse that could go well in some of those marathon chases. Don't know if he'll go for the Welsh National, but that's the type of race he could run well in. And obviously Colbert Station ran a good national trial. Jumps really well, that horse. Cantered into the race. Obviously had the big weight and got run out of it after the last. But, you know, he's the type of horse that Ted Walsh will have spot on for the national. Could go really well. Also must mention the Monksfield Hurdle. Obviously Noel Mead's horse, Apache Stronghold, looked really good. But I'm not sure he'll be quick enough for a Cheltenham race. He looked like a big, staying chaser type horse. And whether he'd be quick enough to win a Cheltenham race, I doubt.
150 yards to race. Apache Stronghold easing clear under Paul Carberry from Missouri in second. Carrigan Oak third as they go to the line. Apache Stronghold will win the Monksfield in good style from Missouri in second.
And any others in Britain that caught your eye?
Sydney Paget, I suppose, looked okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty weak race, to be honest. He looked pretty good. He'll go up quite a lot in the handicap, I would have thought. I don't know where he'll go. I don't know what sort of race he'll go for. I'm not sure he's a bit too free for me for those races like the Welsh National. He obviously looked very good, but might be more interested in Silver by Nature, the second for the Welsh National. He was second in it 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago. Looks to be coming right back to form. Stayed on very well after the last one. It's the type of horse that will relish Chepstow if it turns up really, really soft. I know he's getting on a bit, and young horses tend to win races like the Welsh National and Hennessy, so that might count him out of it. But yeah, of the two of them, and if they were both running in the Welsh National tomorrow off similar weights that they had on Saturday, I think I'd be on Silver by Nature rather than Sydney Paget.